begin.
Welcome to the WiseTake DFS podcast. I am your host, CK013. You can find me on Twitter at CK_013. And I'm joined here by Matt Amen. You guys know him by now. You can find him on Twitter at Matt Amen123. Matt, just me and you today, buddy. How we doing?
We're doing okay. I'm watching my boy Clayton Kershaw here try and make it through this game. I think I need him to finish strong to cash in my cash games, and I'm having a pretty decent tournament night. Nothing great, but I'm up money, so I'm happy.
That's good. That's always good. I'm in the same boat with you on Kershaw, man. I got him, obviously. You got him in my cash games too. So I made a mistake with playing Seager over Lindor, but stuff happens, man. And hopefully Kershaw could bail me out, but we'll see. But it was definitely, you know, it was crazy. I was very shocked at how highly owned McCullers was.
Yeah, I mean, I decided on DraftKings to go with both Kershaw and McCullers just for safety, and I felt that there was enough cheap bats to make it work. As the games were kind of starting, I was regretting it because there was so much offense and all the kind of chalky, good offensive plays were all going off. So I had a lot of catching up to do, and I'm kind of right on the border. So Kershaw just struck out in Molina, so that helps us. So we'll sweat this out together here.
Yes. It's always nice when you strike out a guy like Molina, and hopefully get this complete game because we're gonna need every little bit we can get. But I was talking more on FanDuel. McCullers in cash games was like anywhere from like 30 to 50% owned, and a lot of these 50-50s, and like it's Kershaw is normally like 70-80. Like I was very surprised. You know, in cash games, now in tournaments, I would expect McCullers' ownership to be up, especially after what Peacock just did to Detroit. So that made sense, but I was surprised that many people went with him in cash.
Yeah, that surprised me a lot. I mean, on FanDuel, I just went with Kershaw. I didn't even think about it for 2 seconds.
Yeah,
Same here. That surprised me. I mean, in my 50-50s I'm looking at right now, he's only 34%. So that's
crazy, right?
Crazy.
All right, man, you ready to talk? We got 2 slates here on Wednesday. Ready to do this?
Yeah. Okay, go ahead. I'm ready.
All right, we're going to start with this early slate, obviously. We got Jose Berrios of the Minnesota Twins visiting Chris Tillman of the Baltimore Orioles. Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, I mean, this is an interesting 4-game slate. It's like all the offenses are kind of the same. Like they're all like, yeah, I could target this offense here, but I'm not like super thrilled about it. So it'll be interesting to see where we end up. As far as the pitching in this first game, I don't think Chris Tillman is back to what he was last year yet, still coming off injury, and I don't think I'm ready to use him yet. Minnesota's shown to be a decent offense. Tillman, I don't think the strikeout upside is quite there yet. So I don't think I want Tillman. And then on the other side, you know, there's a big price discrepancy in Berrios from FanDuel to DraftKings. On DraftKings, he's 7,400. On FanDuel, he's 9,400. So on DraftKings, I love Berrios in this spot. He's been really good in his first 2 starts so far this season. He had 11 strikeouts against Colorado in his last time out, and he was good in the start before that against Cleveland. So, you know, Berrios for me on DraftKings will probably be my starting pitcher 2 everywhere. You know, Baltimore's lineup is scary, but they are right-handed. They do strike out a lot. So I think the upside is here for Berrios. Certainly risk, but I think I'm willing to take it on. And then on the bat side, like I said, it's kind of like all the offenses are kind of the same. You know, I could see either Minnesota or Baltimore having a good game here. They're not my favorite offense on the slate, but I think both offenses are in a decent spot. I mean, obviously for me, if I'm using Berrios, I'm not going to be using Baltimore. So I'll be favoring Minnesota, and you know, my favorite Minnesota player would be Max Kepler. I've mentioned him on the last couple days. He's been hitting the ball really hard.
Yeah, man. It was funny. I just zoomed in, obviously, you know, with the new Zoom feature. You know, and I got a real good look at that Angels helmet, man.
Yeah, you know, I'm wearing this helmet. I'm wearing this helmet. My son, you know, when we play in the house or whatever, he wears it, and he's, you know, I'm Mike Trout, or whoever, Cole Calhoun. So he asked that if I would wear it tonight on the podcast. So here we go.
There it is. Yeah, I'm looking and I'm like you mentioned, like you asked me, and I was on board, and I was like, yeah, I want to see it. And then like, I guess because like at first I was looking at the stats and everything, I didn't notice it. I put the close up and I'm looking, I'm like, look at that helmet. Like, he's wearing
Yeah.
That's
It's
awesome.
pretty cool. He's like, Daddy, I want to collect all the helmets from all the teams. So I might go on and just order them all. We'll
You're gonna
see.
have to wear every one of them.
Yeah, you know what? That might be my new thing on the pod. I just wear
Yeah.
plastic baseball helmets.
Yeah, man, I'm digging it. Jose Barrios on DraftKings, I totally get it, Matt. The price, the price is obviously more right, if we'll say there. But on FanDuel at 9-4, I don't think it's necessary. I know he's been pitching well, and the Twins have high hopes for him. I just don't feel comfortable in this ballpark. It's a step down for him. The Minnesota Twins, his home ballpark is definitely more of a pitcher's park. Baltimore is definitely more of a hitter's park. So on the other side, I don't like Tillman either. I like all the bats in this game. Specifically from the Twins, I like Dozier and Sanu. Chris Tillman has a little bit of reverse splits, at least when he's home over the last couple of years. So, and he like you said, he still doesn't seem like he's all the way right. He's still trying to get adjusted. So, yeah, I don't mind Kepler, but I really like Sano and Dozier. And if you're not paying for Barrios, all the other cheap pitchers on FanDuel are cheap enough to where you should be able to afford whoever you really want. So I love the bats. I'm with you.
Yeah,
Um,
good call on the reverse splits for Tillman. I didn't pick up on that, so I'm glad you're here to pick me up when I am out.
I'm digging it, man. But either way, Kepler's got really good platoon splits, so he's certainly worth considering. We got Marcus Stroman of the Toronto Blue Jays visiting Matt Garza of the Milwaukee Brewers. Go ahead.
Yeah, Stroman's a 100% lock for me on both sides tomorrow. I think he's by far the best pitcher, by far the safest pitcher. He's not a high strikeout pitcher, around 20% strikeout rate, but Milwaukee comes with a lot of strikeouts. So I think the strikeouts are going to be there in this matchup. I think he'll probably get 6 or 7. He'll probably go 7 innings. He'll probably give up 1 run. The thing I like the most about Stroman is we know the Brewers are a boomer bust type team. They hit a lot of home runs and they strike out a lot. And the great thing about Stroman is he is a really extreme ground ball pitcher, 61% ground ball rate, doesn't give up very many home runs. So, I mean, of course, you never know. Thames could take him deep or Braun could take him deep, but I think he's about as safe as you can get. And on this slate where no one is really seems safe at all, he's going to be a lock for me across the board. And then on the other side, Garza, he's been decent this year, 2.43 ERA, but I certainly am not buying it. The strikeouts aren't there. Toronto's been pretty hot, so I definitely am going to favor the Toronto bats here. Let's see. On the Toronto side, what's his name? It'll be interesting to see who they start at first base tomorrow. They gave Morales the start today, and he hit a home run. He's been hot. So I don't know if they'll go with Morales or if they'll give him the day off and go with Smoke. Either way, both those guys have been hot, so I like whoever they do decide to put at first base. And then, for a cheap play, this Ezekiel Carrera has been batting second, and he's really cheap everywhere. So I like him. I like the Toronto bats in this game.
Yeah, I'm with you. I certainly think on FanDuel especially, and yeah, on DraftKings too, that Stroman is probably going to be a cash game favorite, just considering there's really aside from Barrios, which I don't think too many people are going to go all the way up to Barrios. I would hope not. I could be wrong, but I would think not. I think it's going to be a pitcher that we're going to talk about later, and I think Stroman are going to be the two ones. And I think Stroman is the safer one. He's known as a ground ball guy. Milwaukee does strike out a lot, especially against righties. As Matt said, you got to be careful because of the ballpark and the fact that they have a couple good lefties, VR, Thames, Shaw, and of course, they got Braun, who's a righty, but still very good. So you made all great points, man. I think Stroman is certainly, as of right now, my first look. Stroman is probably the safest guy on the slate, so he's probably the guy that you want to, if you maybe feel more comfortable with in cash. Like I'd certainly feel more comfortable with Stroman in this park than Barrios at Baltimore at 9-4, just on a price standpoint. You know what I mean? But yeah, Garza, I want to take Toronto. They've been heating up, but Garza, man, he keeps burning me, man. I keep going against him, and he's shutting people down. So I don't think he's going to hold it up, but I think I might want to wait until it happens, until he gets blown up before I start targeting him again, man, because he's been killing me.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, there's no slam dunk stack on this slate.
Right.
And you'll see as we go along, there's no offense. It's like, oh man, I really want to target this spot. It's like Arizona. I mean, we'll get there. Arizona has the highest team total, but they maybe are facing the second best pitcher on the slate.
Yeah.
So yeah. Let's just get there before we just start going way ahead. But yeah.
You're right, though. All right. Edinson Volquez of the Miami Marlins visiting Sonny Gray of the Oakland Athletics.
Yeah. So again, Sonny Gray. Everyone's always like, "Oh, Sonny Gray's a fraud. Sonny Gray's no good," because everyone used to think he was really good, and then he's been bad the last couple of years. He's dealt with a myriad of injuries. But hey, in his last time out, he faced Boston and he struck out 8 Red Sox, and we know the Red Sox don't strike out very much, so maybe his stuff is coming back a little bit. And honestly, like I said, I said Barrios is the guy I'm going to lock in as number 2. Maybe I want to consider Sonny Gray a little against a Miami team that's, not very good offensively in a really big ballpark. Maybe Sonny Gray is in play on FanDuel a little bit. I mean, on DraftKings a little bit at 8,600. I don't want to do it. On the other side, you can't play Volquez. He stinks. And even though Oakland's bad, I just don't want to do it. Every time I watch this guy, he's just walking everybody. He's just getting hit hard. I don't see any swing and miss stuff. And so I don't like Volquez. And I actually kind of think he's the worst pitcher on the slate. But like I always say, I hate this ballpark. And, Oakland doesn't exactly have the lefties that can take advantage of him. Yonder Alonso was back tonight, and he did homer in his first at-bat back from injury. So, maybe Yonder Alonso, Jed Lowry, Mark Canha has been hot. Chris Davis with a K, always in play when you're playing Oakland. And then if you believe, like most of the DFS industry, that Gray is a fraud, then, the Marlins are certainly in play, and they have plenty of power for this park. Justin Bour's been mashing, Stanton, of course, Ozuna. D. Gordon had a big game tonight, so very, very interesting slate.
Yeah, this early one's going to be tough for sure. I'm with you on Volquez. I don't like him at all. He's got no upside here, even against the A. That I just don't see it. Now, granted, with that said, he's not somebody that I typically love targeting either all the time, especially not in these kind of ballparks. So yeah, I think the offense is here where you want to go. Sonny Gray, yeah, people are calling him a fraud. I think they were kind of jumping ahead of themselves to begin with. Not that I don't think Gray wasn't any good, but I mean it's kind of like a situation with I find it similar to like Matt Harvey, except maybe Matt Harvey's a little bit right. Like it's a guy that seemed like he was dominant and then kind of but like let's be real, what sample size did we have? So it's like what expectations could we really have had? And until we see something different, that's pretty much it. I'm not saying Gray can't turn it around. I'm just saying like he's too young. We haven't seen much of him to really know if he's good or not. So with that said, Miami's not a team I typically like to pick on. Like you said, they got a lot of power from both sides of the bat. I mean, okay, if you look at his righties, you got Ozuna, Stanton, and Realmuto, all guys that can hit jacks in this ballpark. And then if you go platoon, you got Yelich, Bour, Gordon, Dietrich, all these other guys. So, yeah, I think the bats is where you want to go. It's going to be tough to go there because of this park. We both agree we don't like it. But on the Oakland side, plenty of good plays against Volquez too. So it's ugly, but that might be what you have to do. You ready to move on to the next game?
Yep.
All right, we got Jose Quintana of the Chicago White Sox visiting Randall Delgado of the Arizona Diamondbacks. Looks like the roof is supposed to be closed, but I guess we never really know until right before game time. Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah. I mean, how in the world could they possibly open the roof in these last 2 games? I mean, tonight the roof is open and it's 100 degrees. I mean, that's just crazy to me, but I don't know, whatever. As far as this game tomorrow goes, I mean, Arizona has the highest team total on the slate right now, but Jose Quintana is a good pitcher. I mean, he's right there with the guy from Toronto. Stroman is the best pitcher on this slate. But I don't want to play him in Arizona. It's a tough ballpark, and Arizona has plenty of good righties to take advantage of him. But, that being said, is Arizona my favorite offense, and they're all really priced up? I don't know. And then on the other side, this is a full-on bullpen game for Arizona. Randall Delgado will probably pitch 4 innings. And as far as bullpen arms go, he's not terrible. But, I want to pick on him. But the White Sox don't really have any lefties to pick on him with. I mean, they're a team that really struggles with righties. But I do think they're probably my favorite offense on the slate just because you're going to get him who's not great, and then you're going to get a bunch of bullpen arms that aren't great. So it's a really hard slate, and I might sleep in tomorrow and miss it. But I mean, who am I kidding? I'm a degenerate. I'll definitely play, and I'll try to figure it out. But my gut feeling is right now that Chicago is my favorite stack on the slate, but I'm not excited about it.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. Quintana was the other pitcher, obviously, that you already knew that I was talking about when I mentioned that there's two pitchers that you may want to consider. It stinks because the highest projected run total comes from, well, one of the highest, I should say, comes from the Diamondbacks. We know there's a lot of runs there. He's a dog on the road against Delgado. Quintana's a dog, so that's interesting. And I think that obviously is going to hurt Quintana's ratings on any kind of projection system or models that you have. The fact that he's an underdog, because he's not usually an underdog, especially not to a team. And the thing is, the Diamondbacks are the ones on the slate, besides the A's, that maybe strike out the most. So I think in tournaments, if you want to take that chance, you can take that chance. In cash games, it just seems way too risky to take an underdog against a team with this high total. But with that said, I wouldn't be surprised. Like in cash games, I think the White Sox, you kind of have to try to go there, at least with the Garcia, with the Garcias, and
Yeah.
maybe Melky or something. But in tournaments, I think I might fade this game altogether. Maybe take some D-backs guys, just because I don't know, because are people going to want to pick on Quintana, because Quintana's normally fairly popular when he's in any other situation, you know?
Yeah, it's tough. Like I said, the Diamondbacks have some guys that really hit left-handed pitching well. Obviously, Goldie really hits lefties well, and then Chris Owings has been really hitting lefties well. Tomas, of course, is lurking. Drury has power. So yeah, it's an interesting game. It's an interesting slate. I do think on the White Sox side, I think Yolmer Sanchez will be interesting. He's really cheap, and he's been hitting pretty good. And he's been hitting at the top of the order against righties, so I might look to him a decent bit.
Yeah, definitely. I will say that Quintana's WOBA is higher on the road, even his splits to lefties and righties. Just in general, he does seem a little worse on the road. So there's one thing I guess to consider. I mean, it's tough because I want to play the D-backs. It's just at the same time, they strike out. You don't want guys to strike out, but I really like the D-backs even against Quintana. I mean, even the guys you just mentioned, man, like Owings and Drury, like they're a whole different. Like they've been good against righties. They're a whole different ball game against lefties. Not to mention Ionetta, assuming that he's back and going to play. So it's going to be hard for me not to like the D-backs.
Yep. Yep. Should be a fun game to watch, and also I just want to say that Kershaw just hit for himself in the bottom of the eighth, so and he got a base hit. He'll be coming in that complete game.
And you know what, Matt? I need it so bad. I am right on the border here, right? Like, okay, so the cash line I'm looking at right now is about 147. I'm at 145 because Lowry hit a double and then scored, so he bumped me up there a little bit. So, I'm so we need Kershaw, baby.
Yeah, I got 151 on DraftKings, so I got 151 on FanDuel, so I'm gonna cash on FanDuel. DraftKings, I'm kind of in the same position you're in.
Ooh, come on, Kershaw, shut it down.
Yeah.
Need Kershaw to shut it down. All right, we got one more game in this early slate. We got
I didn't even see the Cincinnati Cleveland game. Is this on the early one? It's not on DraftKings. Is it on FanDuel?
Oh yeah, on FanDuel I have it separated by slate, and they do have it in there. I honestly thought they would. I thought they were going to do a DraftKings set. I thought they would just skip it because honestly, that makes more sense.
That makes all right, bring it on. I haven't looked at it at all, but bring it on. Let's do it.
Oh yeah, we're bringing it. Now I'm going to tell you this first. It's actually, Lisa Laverto Bonilla.
It's Bobby Bonilla's son again.
Right? Oh man.
I mean, don't even try to pronounce his name. No one can say that.
We'll just say Bonilla. I think I said it right though. Lisa Laverto. Yeah. No?
Yeah, that sounds right.
That sounds right. Yeah. You wouldn't know. Right. You wouldn't know. He's sitting there with his Angels helmet. Like, yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Man. Yeah, sure. That sounds right.
Yep.
Anyway, Bonilla visiting Trevor Bauer of the Cleveland Indians. Now, I do see it says light rain. Temperature's about 64 degrees and precipitation around 67% or so. So, here you go. Take it from here.
Yeah, I mean, no on the pitchers. Definitely no. Bonilla, he hasn't shown any upside yet in this ballpark against Cleveland, who doesn't strike out and is very left-handed. No. And then Trevor Bauer, who has a walk problem, and he's facing another team that doesn't strike out very much and that has been pretty good in the Reds. I don't want either of these pitchers, and I love the bats in this game. And I might play more FanDuel now in this slate because this game is very attractive to me for the bats. I love the bats in this game all across the board.
Yeah, I'm with you here, man. I'm not interested in any of these pitchers. I think it's interesting. I will admit, Trevor Bauer, the Reds, I should say, have the lowest Vegas projected run total. I think that's interesting because I don't think Bauer's very good, and his splits at home aren't very good, for that matter. So either way, that's not going to scare me off of him. I still love the Reds here. Joey Votto is probably an elite first base play against Bauer. At least in cash games, he's probably where you want to start it. Even guys like Billy Hamilton, he's been red hot. Once he gets on base, you know what he can do for you. So the Reds in general, man, they're swinging the bats well. On the other side, you got to love the Indians. They woke up against Cincinnati today. So I would expect them to continue that, and especially going back home. So, yeah, I love the bats here too, man. Okay, so that's going to do it for the early slate.
Hey, hold on.
What's up?
You said that the Reds have a low implied team total tomorrow.
Yeah.
We might have to get down to our local bookmaker because I really like the Reds here.
I'm with you, man. I totally get it, man. Forsythe struck out. Oh, what a bum. I totally get it, man. No, it makes a lot of sense. I mean,
oh, what a bum.
You like how I slipped that in there real quick? Seager was on deck, man. Seager was on deck. Would have been the bases loaded. Forsythe. He couldn't come back one day later. You know?
I know. All right, let's shift our focus to Kershaw.
Yeah. There we go.
And maybe this podcast. We totally lost our way.
I definitely thought you were going to say to this podcast, and then you're like, let's switch our focus to Kershaw.
Nah.
All
right, let's keep going.
Yep. Okay, that's the early slate. We got a main slate to get through here. Wait, there's 10 more games in the main slate?
Oh yeah, we're gonna fly. I'm bringing the heat now. We're going turbo light.
I'm with it. We got this. All right, we got Tyler Chatwood of the Colorado Rockies visiting Jeremy Hellickson of the Philadelphia Phillies.
Yeah, I mean Jeremy Hellickson's been very, very bad lately. He's been giving up lots of home runs. He hasn't been striking out anybody. This is a small ballpark. You've heard from me the last couple of days that I think the Rockies are #good. They've put up big run totals in the last several games, so I really like the Rockies bats again here today. Blackman coming off a 2-home run game. I like Cargo's heating up. I had Gerardo Parra in my cash games today, and then I wussed out and pulled him out once there was kind of weather threats, and then he homered, so I was sad. So I like the Rockies here, and then on the other side, I think we're going to love Chris Sale on this slate, and I think on FanDuel he's a lock. But on DraftKings, you needed a second pitcher. I think Chatwood's at least interesting. He's a guy that has pretty big home and away splits. He's much better on the road. So, I have a small interest in Chatwood here. He's had some control issues lately. He's been walking people, so maybe we could find a better starting pitcher too along the way. But at first glance, at least Chatwood might be in play for me just because Philly stinks.
Yeah, and just to be clear, the reason that Matt immediately mentioned, well, I guess it's the first game, so yeah, these are only guys you would consider as SP2s on DraftKings, but we're just going to put it out there. Chris Sale's on the slate, and we like Chris Sale, and in cash games, we don't see a way around Chris Sale, and we may not see a way around him in tournaments, but when you hear Matt talking about pitchers, most of these pitchers are probably going to be starting pitcher 2 options on DraftKings.
Yeah.
Just to throw that little disclosure. But I'm with you, man, on DraftKings. I think Chatwood makes sense. It's not the greatest ballpark, but he is a ground ball guy. I mean, this guy's, he's molded to pitch at core, so I think he can handle Philly. I'm not too concerned here. I'm not the most explosive. On the other side, I'm with you. The Rockies have been red hot. Hellickson's having a big step down. Last year, he was decent. This year, he's looked horrible, so I'm with you there. And that's it. Okay, we got Jason Hamill of the Kansas City Royals visiting Luis Severino of the New York Yankees.
Yeah, if you are crazy and you want to pivot off Sale, Severino's the guy you're going to do it with. He's had his moments this year. He's shown the K upside is there, and we know the Royals are bad. They are averaging the least amount of runs per game in all of baseball, so they've been really bad. So if you are crazy and you want to go away from Sale, Severino's the guy. And then on the other side, Jason Hamill's been really, really bad. And he just faced the Yankees and gave up 5 runs in 6 innings, 2 home runs. I love the Yankees in this spot. I think they get it going here. So all the Yankees bats, and then on the Royals bat side, I just don't think I'm going to go there. There's plenty of other good spots.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%. I don't like Hamill at all. I didn't like him back when people thought he was good. I thought he was a fraud, and I certainly don't like him now. I didn't like him when he played the Yankees in back in Kansas City. I'm certainly not going to like him in New York. So I'm big on the Yankees. I prefer the lefties here. I know that Judge, Castro, Holiday, Sanchez, all these guys have been red hot, tearing it up. But Gardner's been red hot. Ellsbury's been red hot. Pretty much everybody has. So I love the lefties here. Didi, Gregorius. I'd be interested to see if Didi and Headley get moved up in the lineup, considering they have a righty. And it's left Yankee Stadium. You want to take advantage of that short porch out there. I love the Yankees offense in general. And like you said, if you're crazy enough on DraftKings or FanDuel, if you think you can swing it, if you think there's bats enough that you need to get away from Sale for whatever reason, Severino's the only guy that I think can come close to his upside. So, but yeah, I personally, maybe I'll go there in one tournament lineup just in case, but I think we made it pretty clear that we like Sale. Let's see. Sam Gaviglio. I think that's Joe's boy, right? Patio Joe?
Yeah, you're right.
That's him, Gaviglio. Visiting
Italian from Oregon State University. Boo.
Italian from Oregon State University. All right. Visiting Tanner Roark of the Washington Nationals. Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, I mean, total yuck on the pitchers in this game. Roark, he's not good. I'm not going to play him. And then on the other side, Gaviglio had a decent game last game against a bad White Sox team, but definitely no for me against Washington. Washington woke up today and scored 10 runs, and I think they got a chance to do it again in this spot. Harper homered. All the Nationals bats. And then, on the other side, I don't know. I'm not too excited about the Mariners here. I said that, I don't think Roark is good, but I don't think Seattle's going to be one of my higher stacks. I mean, Seager is really cheap on DraftKings, 3,500. If you wanted to go there, I think that would be fine, but nothing else really excites me.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. The pitchers don't do anything for me here. And I think that, listen, I'd be willing to ride with Seattle. I think Roark is bad enough, or at least mediocre enough that I think we can see, like Cano, for instance, at 3.7. Like, I think I might prefer to play Cano over Daniel Murphy. I'm sorry, he's $200 cheaper. I think I might rather go. Listen, in cash, obviously, maybe Murphy against Gaviglio, but I don't think Roark has improved me anything. I mean, Cano don't strike out. Why not Roark in this ballpark for a couple $100 cheaper? So yeah, I like the bats. I don't like the pitchers. That's pretty much it. But I do like the Seattle bats. They've been kind of cold. I'll admit that. But Kyle Seager 3.1, he's cheap enough for sure. Robbie Cano is back 3.7. I think the bets are pretty lively on both sides. And yeah, the Nats went nuts today, man. They really did. They went nutty. All right, let's see. We got Jared Cozart of the San Diego Padres visiting Robert Gsellman of my New York Mets. Looks like Kershaw just blew the save. Or what was it, a wild pitch?
Wild pitch. I don't even know how. I mean, I'm not watching the game, but I don't know how the guy got to third. He got a hit, and then they didn't turn the double play that it looks like maybe they should have. I don't know. I'm just sad. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, that kind of stinks. All right, go ahead, Matt.
Which game is this? The Mets. Oh, I'm so sad.
Oh, man.
Hold on. Okay, so this is the game where I like Gsellman. Gesellman's not good, but the Padres are just so bad at baseball that I just, on a slate that I want some bats and I want Chris Sale, I'm going to have to do something to get it. And I think on DraftKings, it's going to be play Gesellman. So I think that's what I'm going to do. On the other side, Jared Cozart's bad. He doesn't strike anybody out. He has no upside. He struggles with lefties. The Mets have all lefties. So I like the Mets bats here. Your boy Conforto's been on fire, so I like him a lot.
Yeah, I'm with you. Listen, man, I'm always on here talking about how bad Gsellman is. I don't like Gsellman. But you're right. It's the Padres. This is a slate where he's cheap enough to where he could actually be, with Sale, he could be a decent SP2 option. I wouldn't be upset about that because it is the Padres, after all. The Padres are crazy cheap on FanDuel. You pointed that out to me, Matt. And so it just looks like their algorithm doesn't really have them in a good spot here. So and because nobody ever plays them, I'm sure that has something to do with it too. But I'm with you, man. I don't mind maybe a one-off with like a Myers or a Schimpf or something like that. But I prefer, I think Giselle, this is one of the spots where you can actually you can kind of take him and feel okay with that. And I love the Mets on the other side. Conforto, like you said, has been a monster. Bruce is questionable. He left the game a little hurt. I don't know what's wrong. Keep an eye on that. But Duda's starting to heat up a little bit. Granderson, Neil Walker, they're all priced well. So it's a situation where you can really pick on Cosart comfortably on FanDuel and play Chris Sale. You can make it work. So I do like the Mets offense here. Okay, here we go. Martin Perez, the lefty from the Texas Rangers, visiting Chris Sale of the Boston Red Sox.
Yeah, Chris Sale, what can you say other than he's been the best pitcher in all of baseball this year? He's had 7 consecutive games, double-digit strikeouts. And, I can't find a way not to play him in this spot. Texas strikes out a lot. And, yeah, I'm going to play Chris Sale, especially because Martin Perez is really bad, and I expect the Red Sox to get to him. So, I like the Red Sox in this spot, especially the righties. But obviously no Rangers bats. I don't know what's going on with the DK algorithm to have guys like Nomar Mazara 4,700. So I don't know. Yeah, but no Texas and Boston. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny because FanDuel's on it, dude. Like these prices for the Texas guys, DeShields 2.1. Well, he's always that cheap. But Chu 2.3, Andres 2.3, Odor 2.2, Mazara 2.3. Like these are all their best bats, and they're all. I think that's the right thing to do. They're going up against the toughest pitcher on the slate, a dominant type. So it's pretty obvious here. I love the Red Sox bats, but they're a little priced up on FanDuel. Not too bad, but like Mookie Betts at 4.5, Hanley Ramirez 3.6, Bogarts 3.5. It's going to be tougher to play those guys, but I certainly do love the Red Sox offense here. I don't like Martin Perez at all, so I'm going to try to find a way to get him in here. And Chris Sale's the guy. We already mentioned it. Chris Sale is the guy. All right, Ricky Nolasco of the Los Angeles Angels.
Of Anaheim.
There it is. And the hat makes it that much better. The helmet makes it that much better, Matt. It
yes.
really does. Visiting Erasmo Ramirez of the Tampa Bay Rays. Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, the last couple of days I've loved Shoemaker and I've loved JC Ramirez against a Tampa team that's very boom or bust, but I can't say the same for Nolasco. He just doesn't quite have the same stuff as the other two. And he's been walking people, and he gives up a lot of home runs to lefties, and Tampa has a lot of lefties with power. So I like the Tampa stack here. I think this is the spot to jump on here, and people are probably not going to go there with all the other good spots combined with, the Angels pitching shutting them down the last 2 days. So I think, the Tampa lefties are in a really good spot here. Dickerson's been on fire. Lomo, Kiermaier, Colby Rasmus, and of course, if I'm stacking them up, I'm not leaving out Souza or Longoria either. So I like the Rays here. And then on the other side, Erasmo Ramirez, I can't play just because he's not going to pitch long enough into the game, and the Angels don't strike out very much. And the Angels have been hitting, decent. Trout, of course, is Trout, and Maven's been really hot, but his price tag is just way too high for me to pay. He's not as good as he's been, and then. The rest of their lineup's just not. It just never gets me excited. So I like the Tampa bats here. Mike Trout if you have the money somehow, but I'm not going to have enough money to pay for him, and that's about it.
Yeah, I'm certainly with you here, man. I'm not big on picking on Erasmo. I'm with you. He's looked good enough to keep me away. His Wobas in general lately, they've just been down, especially at home. So I don't want to pick on him with the Angels because. Before the Angels got a little hot and before we bought into them a little bit here lately, they're a team that we love taking pitchers against. So I don't love Erasmo in this spot because, like you said, we don't think he's going to last that long. But I certainly don't really like the Angels' offense either, as outside of Mike Trout, who you're probably not going to be able to play if you're paying up for Chris Sale. So everything you just said, Nolasco, man, I think it's funny. I don't love him here. But at the same time, I certainly, I could sort of see the merit if somebody wanted to take a shot in a tournament just because of the price and the upside with the Rays lineup. But I do like the Rays offense. I won't be playing any Nolasco, and I might have to play some of these Rays. Like Corey Dickerson's been red hot. Logan Morrison. These guys have been heating up. So I'm with you, man. I'm definitely with you. Let's see. Trevor Williams of the Pittsburgh Pirates visiting Julio Teheran of the Atlanta Braves.
Yeah, I mean, we're looking for a starting pitcher too, and I expect Tehran will get some traction just because the Pirates aren't very good and they're, for the most part, right-handed. But I don't know. Every time I watch this guy in his last few starts, he just looks bad. So in this ballpark that seems really good for lefties, I don't think I want to go to Tehran. I would have, more interest in Josh Bell or Adam Frazier or even, Gulp John Jaso. And then on the other side, Trevor Williams is just bad. He's not a good pitcher. He'll be sent back to the minors pretty soon. Do the Braves have enough pop without Freddie Freeman to take advantage of him on a full stack? Probably not. But Matt Kemp's been hot. You can play him. I always like Inciarte at the top of the lineup. But is there anyone else on the Braves that really excites me? No. I mean, Markakis is cheap and fair, so maybe I could go there. But, that's about it.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. Trevor Williams, I don't know if he's played in the hitter's park quite like this just yet. He really hasn't shown us any K upside here. Love the Braves bats, I really do. You're right, they don't have too many guys that excite you, but Matt Adams has homered in 2 games in a row, I think. They got this right. Rio Ruiz who homered off of what was it, Strasburg or Scherzer? Scherzer.
Yeah.
And Phillips has been playing a lot better. He had a home run the other day. Inciarte is a stolen base threat, and he's a leadoff hitter, only 3.3 on FanDuel. And I like the Braves a lot here. I think they're a team you could probably do something with. Like you mentioned, it's a small park. They got a decent amount of lefties here. Matt Kemp is only 3.6 on FanDuel, so you could even make him work if you want some power. Markakis is 2.9, so I'm definitely what you hear. Love the Braves bats.
So I'm just watching this replay.
Yeah.
So whoever was Grichuk got on base, and he was on second against Kershaw here in the 9th.
Right.
He was at second when Kershaw threw the pass ball, and he scored all the way from second.
Did he really?
Yeah, so I was like, how in the world did they just score on a pass ball when he was at second? And yeah, it went to the side, and Grandal couldn't find it, and he got all the way in. So that just cost me money because Grandal couldn't find the ball. So I'm so sad. Anyways, next game.
That's sickening. I feel sick now.
Yeah. Welcome to DFS.
Yeah, exactly. All right, we got Matt Moore, the lefty from the San Francisco Giants, visiting Kyle Hendricks of the Chicago Cubs. Looks like that win might be blowing in a little bit from left field. Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, I mean, this is the exact opposite of Wrigley Field than we've gotten pretty much for the last week. It's been warm with the wind blowing out for 10 days, and then today it started to turn, but tomorrow it's going to be completely good for the pitchers. 52 degrees at first pitch and 16 miles an hour blowing in. So very favorable for the pitchers. And that being said, I think Kyle Hendricks is going to be my starting pitcher too for cash games tomorrow on DraftKings. Fair price, $8,500. He was really great last season. He hasn't been as good this season. But he hasn't been terrible. I mean, 20 DK points and 2 starts ago, and then 16 in his last start. So he's been reasonable, and the Giants have been one of the worst offenses in the league. So at 8,500, I think that's a pretty fair price. I'll probably have a decent amount of Hendricks. And then on the other side, I think Matt Moore is interesting for tournaments. 7,600 on DraftKings. We know when he gets it going, he can have big games. And we know the Cubs can strike out a fair bit. So if the ballpark and the wind is going to help him keep the ball in the ballpark, if he can just stay away from walks, which he's struggled with this year, and that of course what makes him a GPP play for me only tomorrow. But I do have some interest in Moore. And then with the weather and all the things I've just said about the pitcher, I just don't think I want any of the bats in this game, and they're all kind of priced a little bit too expensive for me.
Yeah, I think Hendricks on DraftKings and SB2, in addition to a Chris Sale, I think makes sense, especially with the wind blowing in. It literally transforms from a pitchers to a hitters and vice versa, all dependent on that wind. It's important. There's a reason that Vegas refuses to set their lines until they know what that wind is doing. And it looks like it's blowing in from left. So with that said, I think both pitchers are certainly in play. I'm not saying that I wouldn't have any interest in some of these Cubs bats just because they have the power. However, It's Matt Moore. He's got K upside. Like you said, if he can stay out of trouble with the walks, then I think he's in good shape here. And if the wind's going to be blowing in from left, that's going to be a problem for the righties. So that's in his favor for sure. So he's cheap enough. If you want to avoid Sale on FanDuel and go with Matt Moore because he's cheap and just go all nuts with the bats, be my guest. Again, I'm going to be almost 100% Sale, but I can certainly see merit and Moore. And I think on DraftKings, Moore makes a lot more sense for sure. Daniel Norris of the Detroit Tigers visiting Charlie Morton of the Houston Astros.
Yeah, I think Morton's another guy that is going to be in play for GPPs tomorrow. He's shown some good strikeout upside this year. He has struggled with home runs in his last few starts, so that's concerning against a powerful Detroit lineup. But I think Houston has shut down Detroit the last couple of days, and I don't see any reason why Morton can't do it tomorrow. Like I said, very boom or bust. And then on the other side, I don't want Daniel Norris. Houston has been hitting the ball really well. They aren't striking out at all. Norris is a guy that struggles with walks at times. So I like the Houston bats here a fair bit. And I always like Houston because, they do have some expensive guys, Altuve and Correa, but they also always have a ton of guys that are cheap that I'm always interested in. This Gurriel's been really hot. I love that you can always knock out a catcher, Gaddis, when Gaddis is in the lineup. So I like Houston here a lot.
Yeah, I love Houston here, man. Listen, I think Norris, he could eventually, if he could figure out this whole walk stuff, he could be okay, maybe, against certain teams, but this is not the team. Listen, I believe it or not, I actually prefer to take Houston bats against righties. But the thing is, we always talk about it when Norris is playing. How long is this guy going to last? That's the question. And until he shows us he can last more than 4 or 5 innings without walking, the entire lineup, that means we're going to get a lot of Detroit bullpen in this park, which is phenomenal. So I love this Houston offense for sure. I'm with you. They burned a lot of people today. A lot of people took them against Zimmerman, so I wouldn't be surprised to see people kind of back off and jump ship just because they were upset. And not to mention, if everybody's playing Sale, they might have a hard time affording some of these guys like Altuve, Springer, Correa, etc. On the other side, I'm not crazy about targeting Morton. Don't get me wrong. I'm never going to get mad at you for playing Kinsler, Cabrera, JD, these guys, just because they're very good at what they do. But I'm probably not going to go there. I definitely prefer the Houston bats for sure on this side. And Charlie Morton, as a pitcher, I'm just not crazy about the run projection. I think he could do it, but it's the Tigers, man. It's too much of a risk, and I think it's not worth it for me to pivot down to Morton from Sale. It's just not worth it. Where's the upside? Mike Leake from the St. Louis Cardinals visiting Matt Amen's Los Angeles Dodgers, who are sending out the lefty, Rich Hill.
Yeah, Rich Hill's a really good pitcher, but you can't use him here. He's just, with his injury problems, he's just... there's like a 30% chance he's not going to make it past 3 innings. He'll get a blister and he'll get pulled. But even if he doesn't get a blister on his pinky or whatever, they're not going to let him go more than 90 pitches. So he just doesn't have the upside in this spot. And then on the other side, we saw Lance Lynn do it to the Dodgers tonight. But oh man, I couldn't go to Mike Leake tomorrow. The Dodgers just hit righties too well, and I don't think it's going to happen 2 nights in a row. So no pitchers, but then on the other side, I think both pitchers are good enough to hold the other team in check. And then even though Hill will be out early, the Dodgers bullpen is pretty decent. So maybe if you wanted to go a few Dodgers one-offs, you could do that. Bellinger's looked really bad the last couple nights. I think he struck out like 7 times in the last 2 games. So maybe they're starting to figure him out a little bit. So maybe I would back off of Bellinger a little bit. But, Grandal's been hot. He hit another home run tonight. And, I mean, really, that's I think, all I want from this game.
Yeah,
Nothing
man.
else is...
You made a great point with Rich Hill. I always like to consult with you when it comes to the Angels and Dodgers matters, you and Patio Joe out there in Cali. It's a great point, man. Hill has the upside. Historically, the Cardinals have struggled against lefties, although while Kershaw shut him down, he didn't get as many strikeouts as I kind of thought he would. But yeah, I think Rich Hill would normally be in a good spot. It's just, like you said, the guy's got, I like how you put it, a 30% chance of getting hurt. It's just like,
it's like you never want to project like, oh, this guy's going to get hurt. But it's like in his last 20 starts, how many times has he been pulled in the third or fourth inning? It's been like, well, his blister's back. So
Yeah.
it's like, if it keeps happening, then, keeps
Yo,
happening.
what's the deal? Does he got like soft baby hands? I mean, what's the deal? What's the deal?
I think he's using too much lotion. I don't know. I don't know, moisturizing problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. So I would like Rich Hill normally. The price is fair if he was like, if you were getting Rich Hill at 8-7 on FanDuel and he was like completely healthy and in the zone, yeah, man, all day.
Yeah.
But in this is not the case. As far as the offense here, I don't want to pick on Hill either, and this bullpen is pretty good for the Dodgers. So, the Dodger offense, I don't mind against League. I'm with you, man. I don't think he's that good. I don't think he's terrible. I just don't think he's as good as he's been seeming. So I wouldn't be surprised. Seager, Bellinger, Grandal. You mentioned Bellinger's been cold. That's interesting for sure. But they got the lefties to do it, man. So I wouldn't be, it'll be tough for me to stay away completely. In cash games, maybe not. I learned my lesson today. I took Seager over Lindor, and I'm paying for it. I'm right at that cash line, and I might not cash unless something bounces my way. So for me, I think this time I maybe won't go there in cash, but I certainly see the merit. They look like they're in a decent spot here. So that's pretty much it, man. I think like what are our favorite stacks here, man? We like Houston a ton, right?
Yeah, I like the Nationals. I like the Yankees. We like the Mets.
I like the Red Sox too, man, against Perez.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, those are all the teams on my list. I mean, I don't want to sit here and name 9 teams that I like. So, but all those teams are on my list that I'm looking at right now.
Yeah,
And then on the early slate, I do think the White Sox are my favorite stack.
oh yeah, that's interesting, for sure. All right, you want to be ready to play some Dong Watch and get out of here?
Let's play some Dog Watch.
All right, Matt, let's do it. Let's go. Let's go. Go ahead. It's just me and you today.
Well, I got burnt yesterday. It was like the first day ever that I didn't take Mike
Oh,
Trout. He was in a good spot, so I'm just gonna go right back and just take my guy, Mike Trout.
man, that was such a bummer for you, man. Like, don't get me wrong, I was laughing and I texted you because I thought it was hysterical. But the one game where you don't play one of the two, you usually always get at least one of them. You normally play both of them. The one
Right.
time and listen now to your credit, you had a chance for Trout, you skipped him and you picked Lamb, who also hit a home run. So in your defense,
Yeah.
it wasn't a bad call at all. But you got leveraged, man, because then Patio Joe went and took Trout on you, and then I took Harper, and then Harper hit the dong, Trout hit the dong, man. Like it should have been 3 of your dongs right there.
Yeah, and it did actually cross my mind as I was taking Lamb with my first pick. I did think, everyone's kind of focused on all these other games. I bet I'll get Trout on the way back. And, it did cross my mind, but it didn't happen.
It was worth a shot, though. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I think for me, let me see. I think I'm gonna go with. Give me. You know what? I think I'm gonna go with. Oh man, there's just so many bats to choose from. Give me Daniel Murphy. I'm gonna go with Daniel Murphy. And oh, I get two. I'm gonna go with Cano. I'm gonna do a little hedge because I think one of those second basemen are going yard. Yeah, I know. I completely forgot. I get a second pick. I was just. All right, so I'm gonna go with Cano and Murphy, both the second baseman from this game. Go ahead.
All right, and then you'll just lead me with my Bryce Harper so I can have all my guys. And then I'll just round it out by just being just completely ridiculous chalk and just go Charlie Blackmon.
You had a big game today.
Team chalk.
Team chalk. There it is. I think we picked a lot of. I picked a lot of early game guys, obviously. So I'm gonna step out a little bit. Give me some Mookie Betts. Go with some Mookie Betts against.
Here we go.
Anyway, man. Hey, listen, man. It was a pleasure having you on. I think we're supposed to get Fuego back at some point. Maybe tomorrow. We don't know for sure.
Come on, Fuego.
Come on, Fuego. But hey, man.
Let's go.
But hey, Matt, man, it was a pleasure having you on. I appreciate you joining me here, man. It's once in a while we do these 2-mans, and they're just as fun as those 3-mans, man. So, thanks for coming on.
You got it, buddy.
See that collision? Oh, wow.
In the Dodger game?
Yeah, Puig just ran into Peterson. He caught the ball, but he hit his ribs or something.
Oh, that was earlier. You're way behind the game.
Oh yeah, I'm way behind. I'm watching MLB TV right now. Oh, come on, man. Way behind. That's how we do it on the East Coast, man. All right, man. Anyway, guys, if you're watching on YouTube, please hit that like button. That thumbs up means a lot to us. Spread the word, man. If there's some DFS players you think would be into listening to us, man, expose us to them, man. Show them the way. Show them the way. Show them the light. Anyway, if you're listening on Podbean, subscribe to the channel on YouTube too. If you're listening on Podbean, give us a follow. If you're listening on iTunes, subscribe and leave us some positive reviews. Bump us up those charts. We want to get a little higher in the iTunes, the audio realm, there a little bit. But anyway, guys. Thanks as always for watching, and for Matt and for myself, as always, good luck.
Peace.